Greetings, citizens of Earth, and it's Earth Day. Hello, it's your host, Solar Summer. On Earth Day and Record Store Day, we're going to have some fun and games with Tom Skilling, House of Representative Brad Schneider, the Botanic Gardens. Maybe end the thing with a little Rexon Park cleanup. Rough. Maybe play some music. Maybe play some records. But I don't have a record player, so I'll have to find one. Maybe Mr. Horgan will offer. I doubt it, though. But he's a cool dude. Okay, so let's roll. Happy Earth Day. Happy Record Store Day. Go buy a record or a record player. If you want to drop off a record player for me, cool. I got lots of records. All right? Love the Earth. Love you. Solar Summer, over and out. Episode number, no idea. Alright, hey, what's up there? Kenny, Karaoke Kenny, Casio Kenny, no Kenny Karate. They don't want Kenny Karate. I want to do Kenny Karate. But it's Record Store Day. It's Earth Day. I don't know if I'll put this at the beginning or the end, but now we got to do a little Rexon parking. Not parking, Rexon Parking.org. Yes, and it's a gift card day, a greeting card day. Seriously. So I have to talk to my sponsors, and maybe I can get out to many people, maybe sick people, some greeting cards, some gift cards, and, we can add on to gift cards a movie. So, we'll make it a little Red Nose Day too. Why not? And, I was thinking in celebration of Princess Leia, if this goes on, let's see here. Okay, Princess Leia Day too, or Princess somebody, or maybe just, okay, so we have the necessity garbage man to, bag to pick things up, and we're gonna do a little Rexon parking. Whoa, the nose is falling off. It all fell off. Uh-oh, sunshine, help!
What we got here is a failure to communicate. There's nothing civil about all.
Welcome to the Chicago Botanic Gardens. One way? No, there are many ways. Solar Summer here. Actually, might start singing Hey Jude. Go, ooh, baby, baby. But baby, maybe to Captain. But we're here for a talk. We got Tom Skilling, a legendary WGN meteorologist, and should be good times. Good times. Ramble on, I'll sing my song. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to do a little Rexon parking with sunshine at the beach later. Hopefully I'm going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. Yes, I've been a heathen. All my friends are heathens too. Just heard that on Q101. I have absolutely no idea where I'm going, but we thought, since we're living in the suburbs, this isn't Chicago, this is Glencoe, Illinois, and yes, testify, it's right outside your door, testify, yeah, it's right out. Yes, we have many very powerful Republicans and Democrats in this country. It's not like the French, who have like 12 parties and candidates, so testify, it's right outside your door. Yeah, just stop being a heathen. Get alive. Ooh, baby.
But there's a store.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A neighborly day in the neighborhood. Well, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Dr. Gregory Mueller is the Chief Scientist and Nagini Foundation Vice President of Science at Chicago Botanic Garden. Again, I'm going to take my side and thank the garden for hosting us here today. I love coming to this garden. This is one of the crown jewels of the 10th District. I'm so proud to have this in my district. I'm more proud of the work this garden does. If you haven't had a chance to visit and walk around and see some of the new developments, please take the time to do so. This is an incredible place and something all of us, not just here in the 10th District, but throughout the Chicago region, should be very proud of. Dr. Mueller's research Dr. Mueller's research and training
Representative
programs
Schneider.
focus on the systematics, biogeography, ecology, population biology, and conservation of higher fungi, especially contributors to climate change that we face.
So first of all, I'm leading currently a special assessment of what's happening to the Earth's climate in terms of the science for the U.S. government, and we hope to publish that later this year. Just went through a public review and a national academy review. In that assessment, as with the other assessments, IPCC and the previous national climate assessments, we are concluding that climate change is happening. It's happening rapidly, 10 times more rapidly than occurs naturally. So nature can't explain this. We're seeing more severe weather, more intense severe weather. Sea levels are rising. There's many other responses to what's happening to the changes in climate. Now, why is it occurring? It's occurring because of our largely because of our emissions of fossil fuel, burning of fossil fuels. What we use in our automobiles, gasoline, the oil, the fossil fuels that produce energy are the primary sources. But we also, land use change has also been really important, particularly the decrease in deforestation occurring in the tropics account for a significant fraction of the increase as well.
Okay, happy Record Store Day.
Information about the subject that floats around out there. I think the greatest headwind we face is the social media network, because there is such mythology floating around. Don Wuebbles likes to say there's no other side to this story. You know, we in the media try to get both sides of the story or all sides of the story. This is one story for which there isn't another side. It's happening. We're paying for it now. You know, I didn't come to this quickly. When I used to hear the polar ice caps are going to melt and we're going to warm up, I thought, well, you're going to have to prove that to me. And it's happening. The models have been successful. The notion that back in the 70s we thought there was another ice age coming and that we've somehow changed our mind on that is false. There were a couple of articles about cooling which had gone on from the late 40s through the 70s. The consensus has always been among the vast majority of scientists that warming which is taking place will occur, and it's occurring faster in the Arctic. I went up to Alaska in 1980 for the first time, and what's going on in the Arctic regions of this planet is really kind of frightening. It will collapse in its entirety. How fast that takes place, we don't know. But we know that sea level's up 8 inches, and the estimates of how far it will go are amazing. We could literally submerge the biggest cities on this planet. And it's estimated conservatively that 350 to 750 million people are threatened by that. But what is not known among many people is that the oceans have actually warmed faster than the landmass has. They're becoming acidic. Coral is dying. We may affect phytoplankton pretty soon as the oceans turn more acidic. That's the first level of our food chain. The little fish eat the phytoplankton, the bigger fish eat them, and it's an essential part of our planet. The heating that's gone on in the oceans.
A little bit has a huge impact. What are some other, a little bit more besides what you've already touched on that we should be worried about?
Well, the reason that a little bit matters a lot is that human civilization developed in a time of exceptionally stable climate, and also exceptionally cold climate by the standards of the Earth's history. It's easily possible for the Earth to be warmer. So we had about 10,000 years of extremely stable climate in which all of agriculture developed. So the total amount of the range in which all of the crops that we grow, all the food that we eat, is basically Near Eastern crops that grow in a very narrow range. I mean, we in Illinois are in one of the great agricultural breadbaskets of the world. It's not going to grow corn in Illinois anymore if temperatures get warmer. That all moves north, right? It moves into Canada. So, United States, and certainly in the Midwest, we're relatively well positioned. We have a lot of water. We have modern farming, good communications, excellent soil. But the world isn't like that everywhere. We have very high yields here. So agriculture to me is the single biggest worry. a global concern. And everything that happens in other places affects us. We're not immune from things that happen elsewhere in the world. So you asked for numbers that are important to people. So I just want to give people the few numbers from my energy technology class that I force my students to memorize these numbers, right? I start drilling them on these numbers. So why are we emitting all this CO2, right? We, in the past, as hunter-gatherers, our only energy use was the food that we ate. And so I try, instead of using big numbers, I try to make everyone compare things to scales that they can feel, that they understand. So if you take your 2,000 calories per day of food that you eat, you're an engine, right? Using that's your consumption. And you just do a unit conversion. That works out to be 100 watts. If anybody wants to go through that, we can do it on a piece of paper after this. So you're like a light bulb. That's what you are, essentially. And then you say, let me just compare that to what our modern society does. As Americans, what do we use now? What's our total industrial energy consumption from all those fossil fuels, right? That's basically food that we're feeding our mechanical people, our engines that drive our economy. It is 10,000 watts. So 10,000 divided by 100 is 100, right? We've increased our energy consumption by a factor of 100 over what we are as hunter-gatherers running around, without even making fire. So what does that mean? It's effectively like you have 100 servants. That's what modern life is. You built yourself a life with 100 mechanical servants that you're feeding with fossil fuels. They're all exhaling one great big exhale right now. That's what the CO2 emissions are. We put the earth on the mother of all exercise programs. We're burning off all the fossil fuels that accumulated over billions of years of being slightly out of energy balance. So when people talk about conservation, we're all going to cut back. It's like, you know what? Anybody who has 100 servants, they don't want to cut back to zero.
This ain't no party. Hey, this ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. We're Rex and Parkin. On Earth Day. And Record Store Day. Hey, we got the red nose. Oh!
How did that play out? And especially as Dr. Moyer mentioned, the movement of crop, for example, corn from the United States would be in Canada. But as you look around the world, the uprising of Tahrir Square, uprising in Egypt, many people linked to the failure of the wheat crop in Russia. The civil war in Sudan and the war now between North and South Sudan, many people linked to the desertification and loss of arid land. What are some of the key effects in the biodiversity that climate change is bringing upon us?
So, just to follow up on that, I was at a talk at Loyola about a month ago, and Mary Richards, former president of Ireland and now a UN spokesman for climate change and social justice, was talking about how she made that conversion. She was just a climate justice person. And she was going into this Sahara, other parts of the world, and she was hearing repeatedly from women that things are worse now than ever. And she said, why is it worse now than ever? She said, we used to be able to depend on when we could plant. We could depend on when we would harvest. We had a dependable crop, and we don't have that anymore. And that's causing increased tension, social tension. A lot of the climate immigrants that we're seeing, climate refugees that we're seeing increasingly are causing stresses, as we know, with immigration issues, with other issues around the world. So,
in the Middle East. By the way, in the last year, Baghdad reported a temperature of 127 degrees. That's the hottest temperature ever. In the last month, the hottest temperature ever recorded in Australia, in New South Wales, was recorded. Antarctica recorded its highest temperature ever in the last several months. So there's this drought in the Middle East, which forces 1.5 million Syrian farmers off their farms into cities that weren't prepared to handle it. And the migration starts, and of course it doesn't cause ISIS, but it lays the social unrest foundation for an outfit like that coming in. And the migration starts. There are now droughts in Africa. There are people starting to migrate toward Europe from Africa into Southeast Asia. There are weather stresses, climate stresses going on there. The destabilization socially of governments around the world.
Bonsai, wax on, wax off, bonsai, 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 wax off, paint the fence, paint the fence. The Rose Garden. I get to meet POTUS. Got some questions for him, maybe some complaints. I got a new complaint. It's not Obama, it's Mr. Donald Trump, reality TV show president.
Trying to ensure that our communities are as energy efficient as possible, that we make sure simple things we can do in our own households, the use of LED bulbs instead of the incandescents or even fluorescent. You know, the new LED bulbs really, which are really coming down in price now, really do add a great efficiency to our own use of energy. What vehicles we buy, what appliances we buy, etc. All these things, if you think about them, you know, you actually save money in the end, but on top of that, you're helping reduce our need for those power plants and the fossil fuel use that we have. Hopefully, eventually, we can also transition not only to renewables in our energy use, but also in our transportation systems.
I was saying is that what if, like, having leadership in Congress, was fortunate two months ago, a number of us went to visit our representatives in Washington, including the congressman, and we are very fortunate, you know, in this area. We went from office to office and office, and all of our representatives in the greater Chicago area are strong supporters of science, are advocates for clean energy and everything else. So we're really fortunate in this area for that. I want to congratulate the government. Our leaders in clean cities, and there's been a lot of great work done in Chicago as far as green infrastructure and things like that. And for example, and how this works, City Hall downtown, if you know that half of it is the city, half of it's county. The city side has a green roof on the city side, the county side has an asphalt roof. And on a hot August day, they've measured, and the county side is radiating 50 degrees hotter temperature than the green roof side.
Wow. This is very beautiful. Somebody's getting married, actually, a lady. Oh, what a beautiful bride. Oh, good luck to them. I said focus! Focus! Come on, focus! 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 You hear me? Focus. Focus. Focus on what? I don't know. Focus. Focus on something. Just focus. Focus. Testify. It's right outside your door. Ooh, baby, baby. I hate to take a sad song.
Government and Congress, what message do I need to take back to my colleagues in policy we can push forward?
So I think the message that you take back is that, you know, I agree with what they're saying about conservation, but at the end of the day, if you want to stop, you can't say, oh, I'm withdrawing money like at a lower rate from my bank account, so I'm fine, right? You know, if you're unsustainable, you're unsustainable. And so ultimately, if you want this process to actually stop increasing CO2 in the atmosphere, you have to change your system. So I think the message you take back is that this is a technical issue, it's important. Energy use underpins our economy. We're not going to say that we can go without it. It's what drives everything that we do. You have 100 servants. You're basically saying, how can I feed them something different? I need to.
Various organizations, some of which are in Chicago, that try to tell you that this is a hoax or another real problem. This is a very real problem. And a lot of it does seem to relate to either economic thinking or religious thinking or political thinking, and that drives why people follow a certain pathway and then try to end up being what we call deniers of climate change.
To represent all sides when there really is a second side. So there was a survey I read a couple of weeks ago, might have been CNN or something like that, that showed that the majority of people accepted the fact that there was climate change, a little bit smaller percent recognized that it was human caused, but a really small percentage identified that there is consensus in the scientific community. And because the deniers or skeptics get as much play or more play in media than the others. And it's, as long as you have that, it's going to confuse people because they read different stories. And there really isn't a separate story. It's just that's what's going on. So how we fix that, I'm going to leave that to Tom.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of work done on who the deniers are. They tend to be, you know, it's interesting. There are more. Michael Smerconish did the best in the talk show host. He opened this up on the air one night. He said, "Why is it that of all..."
Out of birdseed. But we have a ceremony here, and we're hoping later when this all lights up, it will stop climate change. Might get lightning struck. This was once a tree, now it's a rock pit with some lights, and this will hopefully reverse climate change on Earth Day and Record Store Day. Hopefully this helps, you know, take one for the team. If I get hit by lightning, I get hit by lightning. But if it works, as I magically calculated, then climate change will be reversed. And, you know, hey, I might be gone, hope you miss me, but it's set. Set it up straight. Okay. To infinity and beyond. Alright, 009, Rexham Park, at your service, community service officer. I made an error earlier and I have to apologize. It was regarding climate deniers being anti-government. No, they are, really, a lot of them, it was the statement from one of the speakers was that climate deniers don't want the government to spend money on looking into all the climate problems and spend money on other things like renewables. They just want the government out. So I'm sorry for that factual error earlier in this broadcast. Peace, love, understanding. Greeting cards, if the sponsors get them to me, and gift cards.
We don't have speed limits on roads, we don't collect taxes and all. There are certain things that government can do that we can't do. For instance, bring together the kind of resources it needs to run a satellite system to observe our planet and things like that. We can't do that. Private industry isn't able to do it. We need government. And government sometimes has to put limits on our lives and say, and organize the efforts to change our thinking. You know, to radically change from fossil fuels to another form of fuels is a mammoth undertaking, as Elisabeth has suggested, and it's going to take a lot of help and infrastructure and investment, and government can do that for us. So I think that's part of it. You know, and this notion that we've always had climate change, I hear this all the time. We've always, there are natural cycles, it's always changed. It's happening faster now, it can't be stressed enough, than ever before. On a planet that has 7.5 billion people on it, we've never had this kind of population. Therefore, we're more vulnerable to the changes that go on. And a lot of the changes in the past, you know, they're called Milankovitch cycles, where the shape of the orbit around the sun changes on time scales of tens of thousands of years. This has driven past major climate changes. What's going on now is an entirely different thing. We are literally changing the chemistry of our atmosphere. And it's happening faster, so fast that not even sea level has adjusted to it. We had Jim Hansen, the famous NASA climate researcher, who pointed out the last time CO2 levels were at this level, sea levels on the planet were 10 meters, over 30 feet higher than they are today. Now the climate deniers will take that fact and say, hey, these scientists...
Most climate deniers, I guess, just don't want government intervening.
In this building right over here.
Pictures, yeah. Beautiful pictures. Beautiful pictures. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. Ah! Dead. Or will it come back? Charging away. Of course, the batteries sit in landfills after they're done with very dangerous stuff. Autism Speaks box, April 30th. And now we're on to the record store day portion of our little chaos. And then we go to Rexon Park to finish off the Earth Day record store celebration. $80. Might have to get that. Okay. It's kind of cool. Not records. Oh, Matthew Smith. He's good. Siddhartha box set. It's $375. But not records. Or those might be records. Box and Rags. Well, really the only other place that sells records in this area, and I'm really not in the mood for driving far. There we go. I need a record player. Yes, we have records. Ziggy.
I got him.
Okay.
Like that My Little Pony thing you're looking for?
Well, that concludes the record store day of our journey. Kind of unfortunate. If I would have called him, I would have played today here. We were doing well here in our Rexon Park adventure. We got almost a bag, got a couple cuts, but we got more garbage here. I think our next surreal avatar adventure, we're digging for dinosaur bones, watching Ginger Z on the ABC, yeah, digging for dinosaur bones. Oh yeah, digging for dinosaur bones, watching that Ginger Z on that ABC. All right. And Wilson, my only friend. We gotta get out of here. I testify, it's right outside your door. All these 1%ers and 0.1%ers. Help us. Sponsors, we need sponsors for the greeting cards and gift cards. All right, more Rexon parking. All right, hope you enjoyed. This has been an YP 92 Surreal Music Amore video. Hope you enjoyed. Great time. Happy Earth Day. Happy Record Store Day. Cool. Come join the Rexon Parks adventure. One day. Ain't that America for you and me? Ain't that America? Something to see, babe. Ain't that America? Little pink houses for you and me. All right. Okay. 31, the magic number.